Keanu Reeves had always lived quietly, despite being one of the most famous faces in Hollywood. Even in his beautiful home tucked away in the hills of Los Angeles, he preferred simplicity. No golden gates, no private chefs, just a warm home, filled with silence, books, and the soft hum of old music records. He didn't surround himself with a big staff. He didn't like the feeling of being waited on. But there was one person he trusted deeply in his home, a quiet, kind woman named Maria. She had been working for him as a housekeeper for almost a year now. Maria was in her early 40s, with gentle eyes, a soft voice, and a way of moving through rooms as if she didn't want to disturb the air. Every morning, she would greet him with a small smile and a cup of tea. She never spoke unless spoken to. She was always respectful. Keanu respected her privacy, never asking about her personal life. But he noticed things. She never took a full day off. She never made phone calls. And sometimes when she thought no one was watching, she would flinch at sudden noises. One Saturday morning, something shifted. Keanu had come downstairs earlier than usual. He had a long flight later that day and wanted to get some reading done before packing. As he reached for the coffee mug, he saw Maria in the kitchen, but something looked off. Her sleeves were rolled up, and as she reached for the broom behind the door, the fabric of her blouse shifted slightly. What Keanu saw made his hand freeze midair. There, on her upper arm, were dark purple bruises. Not one, but several. They looked old, like they had been healing for days, but there was no mistaking it. They were bruises from being grabbed hard. Keanu didn't say anything right away. He just watched, silently. Maria, sensing someone behind her, turned around quickly and gasped. Her smile came a second later, but it was forced. "Good morning, sir," she said, eyes lowered. "I didn't know you were awake." Keanu nodded. Slowly, "Morning, Maria, you okay?" She paused. "Just a heartbeat." "Yes, sir, everything's fine." But it wasn't, and Keanu knew it. He walked back to the living room, sat down with his book, and pretended to read. But he didn't turn a single page for the next 20 minutes. He was thinking, trying to understand. His hands were clenched, his jaw tight. He waited until Maria stepped outside to water the plants. Then he went back to the kitchen and gently picked up the empty teacup she had used. Next to it, on the corner of the counter, was her phone. The screen was cracked. It buzzed once, then stopped. The wallpaper was a picture of a little girl, smiling, maybe 6 or 7. Keanu put the phone down. That afternoon, he delayed his flight. He told his assistant to cancel everything for the weekend. He needed to stay. Something wasn't right, and he wasn't going to pretend it was. He waited until Maria was done with her chores. Then he invited her to sit down. She looked surprised, nervous even. "Is everything okay, sir?" she asked again, clutching the corner of her apron. "I need to ask you something," Keanu said softly. "Please don't lie to me. Are you safe at home?" Maria's eyes widened. Then she looked down. Her hands began to tremble. "Maria," he said again, leaning forward, "you don't have to be scared. I just want to help." Her lips quivered. For a long time, she said nothing. Then, in a voice so low it was almost a whisper, she said, "I have a daughter, sir. She's all I have." He said if I ever talk to anyone, he'll hurt her. Keanu felt like the air had been knocked out of him. He didn't need to ask who he was. Maria finally looked up, tears pooling in her eyes. "I tried to leave, but he always finds me. He broke my phone last week when he saw me texting my sister. I only stay quiet for my daughter." Keanu's voice was calm but firm. "Where is she now?" "School," Maria said, wiping her eyes. "She stays there until late." Keanu stood up slowly. He walked over to a drawer and pulled out a business card. He handed it to her. "This is a friend of mine. She works with women who've gone through what you're going through. I want you to call her. Right now, you're not alone, Maria." Maria hesitated. Her fingers clutched the card like it was made of gold. Keanu stepped back and gave her space. "Go in the guest room. Use the phone there. You can speak freely. No one's going to hurt you." "Not anymore." As Maria walked away, shoulders shaking, Keanu turned and stared out the window. Something deep inside him stirred, a mixture of rage, sadness, and determination. He had played heroes in movies, but now he had to be one in real life. Maria sat on the edge of the guest room bed, holding the phone with both hands like it was a lifeline. She had never used it before. It felt too fancy, too clean. She stared at the number on the card for a long time. Her fingers shook as she dialed. Every part of her wanted to believe this was safe, that someone like Keanu Reeves could really care. But fear had become her shadow. It followed her everywhere. When the call connected, a gentle female voice answered. "Hello, this is Sarah from Safe Haven. How can I help you?" Maria opened her mouth, but nothing came out. A tear slipped down her cheek. "Are you safe right now?" Sarah asked. I think so," Maria whispered. "I'm in someone's house. He gave me your number." "Can you tell me your name, Maria?" "Okay, Maria," Sarah said calmly. "Take your time. You're safe now. No one can hurt you here." Outside the room, Keanu paced slowly. He didn't want to listen in, but his ears were alert for any signs of distress. He hated this feeling of helplessness. For a man who often played action heroes, it was painful to know that in real life, pain crept silently into people's homes and lives, without cameras, without music, without justice. After a while, Maria stepped out of the room. Her face was red from crying, but her hands weren't shaking anymore. She looked at Keanu, and for the first time since she started working there, she didn't look away. "Thank you," she said softly. Keanu nodded. "What did they say?" "They'll help," she replied. "They're sending someone to talk to me." I didn't think anyone would ever care this much. "You're not invisible, Maria," he said gently. "Not in this house, not to me." She took a shaky breath. "I'm just scared. If he finds out." Keanu looked at her with calm, determined eyes. "He won't." The next few hours passed slowly. Keanu made tea for both of them. They sat quietly in the living room. Maria kept her hands on her lap, and Keanu didn't ask too many questions. She had already said enough, but little pieces of her life slipped through. "He wasn't always like this," she said. "When we first met, he was charming, kind. He made me feel seen. After I got pregnant, he changed. He blamed me for everything, said I ruined his life. Then the hitting started. Small at first, then worse." Keanu's fists tightened again. He forced himself to stay composed. "Why didn't you leave?" "I tried," she said. "Twice. The second time, he dragged my daughter out of school just to scare me. Said next time she wouldn't come home." Keanu stood up. "Where is he now?" "He works nights," she said. "Security at a warehouse. He usually comes home in the morning." "You're not going back there," Keanu said firmly. Maria's lips trembled. "But my daughter, we'll get her," Keanu said. "We'll do it right. Safe Haven will help. I'll make some calls." Within the hour, a counselor from Safe Haven arrived, a middle-aged woman named Carla. She spoke with Maria privately while Keanu waited in the backyard. When they were done, Carla came out to talk to him. "You did the right thing," Carla said. "Maria has been through a lot. She needs time, but she's strong. She's willing to move to a safe location." "What about her daughter?" Keanu asked. "We'll arrange a school pickup, discreet. She won't be alone." Keanu looked toward the house. "Can she stay here tonight?" Carla nodded. "If you're okay with it." "Yes." It would help her feel safer. As night fell, Keanu made a simple dinner, soup and rice. Maria barely ate, but she seemed more at peace than before. She called her daughter, speaking in a soft voice, saying, "Mama will see you soon. Everything is okay." Keanu offered the guest room for her to sleep in. She hesitated, but nodded as he turned to leave the hallway. Maria called out to him, "Sir." He turned around. "I never told anyone," she said. "Not even my sister. But you saw me. I just want to say, I'll never forget this." Keanu gave her a quiet smile. "Everyone deserves to be safe, Maria, and no one should have to live in fear." Later that night, when the house was quiet, Keanu sat by the fireplace. He thought about all the times people had admired him for playing heroes. But this was different. This wasn't a movie. There were no cameras, no stunt doubles, no scripts. Just a woman who had been hurt too many times, and a little girl who didn't even know her mother was saving her life. Keanu looked out the window and made a silent promise to himself. He was going to make sure Maria and her daughter never had to live in fear again, no matter what it took. The next morning, the sun rose gently over the quiet hills, but Keanu was already awake. He hadn't slept much. Thoughts kept circling in his mind about Maria, about her daughter, and about the man who had turned their lives into fear. Maria stepped into the kitchen quietly. She looked rested, but there was still a heaviness in her eyes. Her clothes were clean. Her hair was tied back neatly, and her hands no longer trembled. Keanu greeted her with a warm nod. "Good morning, Maria." "Good morning, sir," she said softly. I didn't know if I should make tea. "You're a guest here," he said kindly. "Sit down, I'll make it." Maria's eyes widened slightly, but she obeyed. It was the first time someone had made tea for her in a long time. As the water boiled, Keanu asked gently, "Did you sleep okay?" "Better than I have in months," she replied. Her voice almost surprised. Carla arrived shortly after breakfast with calm efficiency. She brought fresh clothes for Maria and a small backpack for her daughter. "We've arranged a pickup at the school," Carla explained. "2 of our team members will get her. It'll be quiet, no drama." Maria clutched the backpack tightly. "Please make sure she's not scared. She doesn't know anything yet." Carla nodded. "We'll be gentle." As the car left the driveway, Maria stood near the window, silent. Every second that passed felt like an hour. Keanu walked over and stood beside her. "They'll bring her here," he said. "Safe and sound." Maria looked at him. "I don't know how to thank you. No one's ever helped me like this, not without asking for something back." Keanu shook his head. "You don't owe me anything. No one should have to earn safety or kindness." They sat on the porch waiting. Finally, after what felt like forever, a quiet black SUV pulled into the driveway. The door opened and a small girl stepped out, holding the hand of a woman from Safe Haven. "Mama," she cried out. Maria ran down the steps and scooped her daughter into her arms. She held her tight, crying freely now. Her daughter, unaware of everything that had happened, smiled brightly. "You're not crying again, are you?" she asked, wiping her mother's face with a small hand. Keanu watched from a distance, heart swelling and aching at the same time. Inside the house, Maria and her daughter sat together in the living room. The girl's name was Sophia. She had big, brown eyes and a voice full of joy. She laughed when Keanu offered her cookies and told him he looked like that guy from her mama's movie. "You watch movies?" he asked, smiling. "Only when Mama says it's okay," she said proudly. "But I like books better." Keanu laughed gently. "You're smart." Maria looked at him, her eyes full of gratitude. For the next few hours, the house felt warm. Soft music played in the background, and Keanu even helped Sophia build a small puzzle. It felt normal, like a family, like peace. But peace doesn't last long when danger is still out there. At exactly 4:13 p.m., Maria's cracked phone buzzed in the kitchen. The screen lit up with a number, one she recognized instantly. Her hands froze. "It's him," she whispered. Keanu was next to her into steps. "Don't answer," he said calmly. The phone buzzed again and again. Then a message came through. "Where are you? If you don't come back, you'll regret it. I swear on our daughter's life." Keanu's face turned hard. Carla immediately called her team. "We need police involved now," she said. But Keanu was already dialing someone else. He didn't talk about it much, but over the years, he had made friends in quiet places. People in law enforcement, people who helped behind the scenes. One of them was Captain Harris, a decorated officer in Los Angeles who had helped victims of abuse before. "Captain," Keanu said into the phone, "I need you at my house. It's urgent. It's about a woman and her daughter in danger. Her abuser is making threats. I'll be there within the hour," came the voice on the other end. When Captain Harris arrived, Maria gave a full statement. Every bruise, every threat, every time she had been followed. Sophia played in the guest room with Carla while her mother relived years of silent suffering. Keanu watched quietly, his jaw clenched. "We'll get him," Captain Harris promised. "But we need to move carefully." He's dangerous and has a record. He's been under our radar for a while. Keanu nodded. Whatever you need from me, I'll help. Maria looked exhausted. The truth had finally come out. But with it came fear. Fear of what would happen next. As the sun began to set, Captain Harris gave his plan. Tonight, he said, he's on shift. We'll pick him up from the warehouse. No drama, no warning. And then Maria can file the official complaint. We'll keep her protected. Maria's lips trembled. Will he go to jail if he's found guilty? Yes, the captain said. And from what you've told us, he will. Keanu placed a gentle hand on her shoulder. You've already done the hardest part. Now let the system take over. Maria looked up at him. Her voice was low but strong. I only stayed because I didn't want my daughter to grow up without a father. But now I see, growing up with fear is worse than growing up with silence. Keanu nodded. You're a brave woman, Maria, and Sophia is lucky to have you. That night, as they waited for news, Keanu tucked Sophia into the guest bed. She asked, Is Mama okay now? Yes, Keanu said, smiling. Your mama is one of the strongest people I've ever met. Are you a superhero? She asked. Half asleep. Keanu chuckled softly. No, sweetie, just someone who cares. When the call finally came, it was short. We got him, said Captain Harris. He's in custody. Maria broke down crying, not in pain, not in fear, but in relief. For the first time in years, she was free. When Keanu walked into the kitchen. The next morning, the air felt different, lighter, like the walls of his home had exhaled with relief. Maria was already awake, but this time, she wasn't cleaning. She was sitting by the window, sipping tea, watching her daughter play outside in the garden. Keanu poured himself a cup and joined her in silence. For a moment, neither spoke. There was no need. Everything about the previous day still hung gently. In the air, the fear, the courage, and the release that came with hearing those three words. We got him. Finally, Maria spoke. I still feel like I'm dreaming, she said quietly. I keep thinking he's going to walk through that door. He won't, Keanu replied. He's behind bars now, and you're not alone anymore. Maria gave a weak smile. I spent so many years thinking no one would believe me. I never imagined I'd find help like this in the place I work. Keanu leaned back in his chair. Sometimes, the place you least expect becomes the place you're meant to heal. As the morning passed, Captain Harris called with an update. The man, Maria's ex, had been charged. Police found prior complaints from other women, plus photos, threatening messages, and evidence that showed a long pattern of abusive behavior. His record was worse than Maria had ever known. He's facing multiple charges, Harris said. We've also issued a restraining order. Maria and her daughter will be protected from now on. Keanu thanked him and passed the message along. Maria held her daughter close that night. Sophia didn't fully understand everything, but she could feel the difference. Her mother no longer jumped at every sound. Her laughter was easier, her smile fuller. For the next few days, Maria and Sophia stayed in the guest house on Keanu's property. Safe Haven provided support, legal aid, therapy, food, and clothes. Keanu made sure they didn't want for anything, but he didn't hover. He gave them space. Healing needed space. On the fourth night, Maria knocked gently on Keanu's door. He opened it, surprised to see her standing there with her hands behind her back. I made something, she said. It's not much, but it's yours. She held out a small hand-stitched cloth bag with a patch of colorful embroidery. Inside was a small charm, a simple heart made of blue glass, tied with a string. It's called a corazon de fuerza, she explained. My grandmother used to make them for people she loved. It means heart of strength. I don't have much, but this is the most valuable thing I can give. Keanu looked at the small gift, then at her. This is the most beautiful thing anyone's ever given me, he said sincerely. Maria's eyes welled up. I thought, maybe you could carry it, as a reminder of what you did for us. Keanu nodded and placed the charm gently into his shirt pocket. I'll keep it close, always. As the days passed, Safe Haven helped Maria secure a new identity, a fresh start. They found a new place for her and Sophia in a quiet town a few hours away. It had good schools, community support, and most of all, peace when the day came for her to move. Maria stood on the porch of Keanu's house, bags packed, holding her daughter's hand. She looked at the man who had become more than just her employer. He had become a protector, a friend, a quiet hero. "Thank you," she said, her voice soft but steady. "I don't know how we'll ever repay you." Keanu knelt down in front of Sophia and smiled. "Take care of your mom, okay?" Sophia giggled and nodded. "I will." Maria stepped closer. "You didn't just save me from him. You reminded me that good people still exist." Keanu looked at her, his voice full of emotion. "You saved yourself, Maria. I just stood by you while you did it." As the car drove away, Keanu stood at the gate, watching until it disappeared down the road. The house felt quieter afterward. Emptier, perhaps, but not in a sad way. More like something sacred had happened inside those walls, something real. Later that evening, Keanu walked into the living room, reached into his pocket, and pulled out the small charm. He placed it gently on the mantel above the fireplace, a reminder of strength, of survival, of what truly matters in a world full of noise. But the story wasn't over yet. A few weeks later, Keanu received a call from Maria, and what she said made his heart stop. "He's out on bail." Keanu stared at his phone, frozen. He had just returned from a quiet morning walk when Maria's voice came through the line, shaky, afraid, but controlled. "He's out on bail." Those 4 words hit him like a punch to the chest. He quickly stepped into the living room, shut the door behind him, and spoke in a calm but firm voice. "When did you find out?" he asked. "This morning," Maria replied. "A friend at the shelter saw the report. He was released late last night. I haven't heard from him. But Keanu, what if he comes looking for us?" Keanu's heart raced, but he kept his voice steady. "Where are you now?" "At the new apartment." "Sophia's at school." "Lock the doors," he said. "Don't go anywhere. I'll call Captain Harris and get back to you in 5 minutes." Maria whispered, "Okay." Then the call ended. Keanu moved quickly. He didn't waste time with questions or panic. He dialed Captain Harris immediately. "Captain, he's out," Keanu said, straight to the point. "I know." Harris replied, frustration in his voice. "The judge granted bail under conditions. Ankle monitor, no contact. But I don't trust it either. We need protection for Maria and Sophia now," Keanu said. "I'll fund private security if needed. We're already working on it." Harris said, "I've contacted the local station near her new place. I'll have a patrol unit keep watch." But Keanu, the legal system has limits. Keanu knew that, and it made his blood boil. After the call, he packed a small bag, just in case something inside him refused to sit still. He reached into his jacket pocket and touched the little charm Maria had given him. The Corazon de Fuerza. It steadied him, but only for a moment. He called Maria again. "I'm on my way," he said. "Just stay inside. I'll be there in a few hours." Maria tried to protest. "You don't have to. I'm not letting you face this alone." The drive to her new town took nearly 2 hours. As he drove, Keanu's thoughts kept circling. How could the system allow a man with a violent past to walk free so easily? Why was it always the victims who had to hide? By the time he reached the neighborhood, the sun had begun to set. It was a quiet place. Rows of small houses, gardens, families walking their dogs. It looked peaceful. But beneath that calm surface, Keanu knew danger could still be lurking. Maria opened the door before he even knocked. Her eyes were tired. Her hands fidgeted. "Thank you for coming," she said, voice low. "Any sign of him?" Keanu asked. She shook her head. "Not yet." Inside, the apartment was cozy. Simple furniture, pictures of Sophia on the walls. There was a warmth here, a life just beginning to rebuild. Sophia was still at school, but Maria had already prepared dinner. She offered him tea, and they sat on the couch together. "Quiet again. He's going to try something," Maria said suddenly. "I know him. He's not the type to let go." Keanu looked at her. "Then we'll be ready." That night, Keanu stayed in the apartment. He insisted on taking the couch. He kept his phone beside him, fully charged, volume turned up. He didn't sleep much, listening for sounds, footsteps, anything. But the night passed quietly until the morning came, when Sophia left for school with one of the shelter volunteers. Maria finally allowed herself to exhale a little, but at exactly 2:40 p.m., everything changed. Maria received a message from an unknown number. "Cute apartment. You always liked windows." Attached was a photo of their front window, taken from across the street. Maria dropped the phone. Her breath caught. Her knees went weak. Keanu saw her panic and rushed over. He picked up the phone, saw the message, and didn't hesitate. He stepped outside, eyes scanning every corner. A black car sat parked on the opposite side of the road. The windows were tinted. Keanu moved toward it slowly, hands open, heart pounding. Just then, the engine roared to life, and the car sped away. Keanu ran back inside. "Pack a bag," he told Maria. "We're not waiting anymore." He called Captain Harris and reported the threat. Harris promised to issue a warrant immediately. The man had broken his bail conditions by making contact, but Keanu knew it might not be fast enough. He got Maria and Sophia moved into a safe house arranged by Safe Haven, an undisclosed location, monitored, protected, and secure. But that night, when Keanu returned to the apartment to collect the rest of Maria's things, the door was cracked open. He stepped inside slowly. The lights were off. He reached for his phone and turned on the flashlight. Drawers were open, cabinets thrown onto the floor. Someone had searched the place. On the coffee table sat a note, written in red marker. "She belongs to me." Keanu's face hardened. He called the police, reported the break-in, and then made another call to an old friend in private security. "I need surveillance," he said. "I want him found. No mistakes, no delays." The friend agreed. For the first time in years, Keanu felt something close to rage, but beneath the anger was something deeper, resolve. He had protected Maria once. Now he would finish it. And this time, he wouldn't wait for permission. Keanu didn't sleep that night. He sat on the edge of the couch in Maria's ransacked apartment, the dim glow of a small lamp casting shadows across the walls. The note was still on the table, untouched. The words "she belongs to me" etched in red like a threat straight from a nightmare. His jaw clenched. He had seen enough pain in the world. But this was personal. This wasn't a movie. There was no script. Only a woman and a child living in fear. And a man who thought he could take their peace back by force. But not this time. Keanu's private security friend, a man named Daryl, arrived at sunrise. He was a former military operative, calm, sharp, and experienced in tracking dangerous individuals. He reviewed the surveillance in the neighborhood, placed hidden cameras on rooftops, and had 2 men posted near the safe house. Within 12 hours, they had a location. The man was hiding out in a cheap motel just a few miles away, registered under a fake name. But his face was caught on one of the cameras watching Maria's apartment the day before. Keanu made one more call to Captain Harris. "We've got him," he said. "I can send you the footage, the note, everything." Harris didn't hesitate. "Send me the address. We'll move in tonight." But Keanu wasn't finished. He wanted to be there. "I'll come too," he said. Harris paused. "Keanu, this could be dangerous." "I know," Keanu replied. "But I'm not watching from the sidelines anymore." Hours later, as twilight fell over the motel's parking lot, 2 unmarked police cars arrived. Keanu stood at a distance, watching from behind a tree near the edge of the lot, Daryl beside him. Inside the room, the man had no idea what was coming. He stepped out to smoke a cigarette, and within seconds, officers surrounded him. One pushed him against the wall. Another secured his hands. The man screamed and resisted, cursing Maria's name, threatening, spitting, but it was over. They found more inside the room, printed photos of Maria, maps, school locations. He had been planning something worse. Something unthinkable. Keanu turned away, shaking with silent rage. The next morning, Maria stood outside the safe house with her daughter. When Keanu arrived, she looked at him with wide, questioning eyes. "Is it true?" she asked. "He's caught." Keanu nodded. "It's over, Maria." She sank to the ground, pulling Sophia into her arms and weeping, not from fear, not from pain, but from the weight finally lifting from her shoulders. Keanu knelt beside them, wrapping his arms gently around both. "You're safe now," he whispered. "No more hiding." Captain Harris later confirmed the charges. This time, the man wouldn't be getting bail. The court had seen enough. With the new evidence and his clear violation of the restraining order, he was set to face serious prison time. A few weeks later, Maria stood in front of the courthouse, hand in hand with Sophia, and delivered her statement in front of the judge. Her voice was calm, strong, unshaken. "For years, I believed I had no voice, no power. But today, I stand here for myself and for my daughter. I choose peace, I choose freedom, and I choose to never live in fear again." The courtroom was silent. Keanu was there, sitting quietly in the back. After the hearing, as Maria walked outside, reporters tried to talk to her, but she shook her head. Instead, she walked straight to Keanu, who smiled and opened his arms. "You did it," he said. Maria smiled back. "We did it." Months passed. Maria began working at a women's support center in her new town, helping others who were walking the same path she once had. She shared her story only when needed, but her presence alone gave hope. Her daughter thrived in school. Their life became filled with small joys, weekend markets, books at bedtime, laughter in the kitchen. Keanu kept in touch. They spoke often. He checked in, sent gifts, helped them whenever needed. But he didn't want credit. He wanted healing. One day, Maria sent him a photo. It was of Sophia, standing proudly in front of a school board, holding an award for bravery. Written in crayon across the bottom was a note: "Thank you for saving my mama." Keanu printed that photo, framed it, and placed it beside the blue glass charm on his mantle. No fans would see it. No headlines would write about it. But for Keanu, it was the most important thing he had ever done. Because real heroes don't wear costumes. They show up when no one else does. And they never walk away.